قبل أن نواصل تأكد بالنقر على زر الاشتراك وتفعيل جرس الإشعارات ولتكن من السابقين.
Hello and welcome to PhoneLab eCampus. I'm your instructor MJ, and in this tutorial we're going to learn to flash the Samsung Galaxy S8 with Odin. Let's get involved here. Okay, so here we are. We're going to be flashing the Sprint variant here, but this will work for any Galaxy S8. It's also important to note that a couple of things have changed. It seems whenever they release a new Galaxy phone, some of the techniques that we use to flash are a little bit different. We're going to go over those when we head over to the computer here. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and look in here and see what we got. Just like we tell you before, you want to go into About Phone, and you want to check that build number. Now, they've got the Android version build number here in front of it in our D90M, but then we've got the device ID here, the G950U SQU1, A, and QD9 is the build number. So QD9 being the last three, like we teach here at PhoneLab. So we need to make sure that we have that firmware. Now, you can't downgrade, and most of the updates do come with bootloaders. So if you're trying to downgrade, it's going to go ahead and prevent you from doing that. Also too, is when you get on the device here, you want to make sure that you remove any old Google accounts. So if it's yours, you want to go in here and reset and go ahead and enter your password to remove that Google account. If you're doing this for somebody at your shop, go ahead and make sure that they put that information in there. If you don't, when you flash the phone, it's going to be Google Lock. So just take note of that. Okay, so now let's head over to the workshop PC here and we'll get this device flashed. Okay, so here we are on the workshop PC. And before we get started here, there's a couple of things that you need to download. So we've included the latest Samsung USB drivers in this video. We've also included this Odin 3.12.5 RAR file. You want to download both of those. Go ahead and create a folder on your desktop, on your workshop PC desktop, all caps like we do here at PhoneLab, Odin 3.12.5. Go ahead and extract it in here, and then you're going to go ahead and double click on this, open it up, and you will have Odin open. Now we'll go ahead and move this over to the side here. Now you do need the correct firmware for your Galaxy S8. For the Sprint variant that we're going to be flashing today, we're going to be using 950U QD9. QD9, as we showed you at the beginning of the video, is the build number for this model. So you're going to go ahead and extract that firmware into a folder, and you're going to get all of these files. Now I'm going to go over these files here real quick, and then we'll get loaded. We'll get these files loaded up. AP obviously goes in the AP slot, bootloader into bootloader, CP into CP, CSC goes into the CSC slot. Now I want to make note of something here. There's two CSC files. There is a CSC file and a home CSC file. If you're debranding your Galaxy S8 and you want to convert it to another carrier, you're going to flash the home CSC file in the CSC slot first, then you will put all the other files in their respective slots. And finally, the user data file, which is a new file for the Galaxy S8, is going to go into the UMS slot. So we'll go ahead and get those loaded in, and we'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. We're finally loading in the last AP file. Now, you're going to notice it says not responding, and you're going to see buffering symbols when you're loading in large files. That's okay. Just be patient. It's going to take a while for these larger files to load. You have to remember that with every release of a Galaxy phone, that the firmware files get bigger. We're already up to over 3.5 gigabytes of total files that are loaded onto these devices right now. And this is just with the smaller version that we're flashing here, which is the 950 or the basic Galaxy S8. So, you know, by next year, we're going to be looking at, you know, over 4 gigabytes of files. So the files that get loaded on these devices are pretty large. So just be patient. Once that's loaded in there, you can go ahead and close that out. Now, I want to make note of a couple things here. Once everything is loaded in, you need to go into options and make sure that you leave auto reboot and F reset time checked. You do not need to load in a PIT file. So why would you load in a PIT file? Well, let's say that you're flashing and you're getting errors and everything that you're trying to do to restore this device is not working. At that time, you can download a PIT file
and then you can go ahead and repartition the device. When you load in the PIT file, it will automatically check the repartition button, but do not check these buttons. The only buttons that should be checked with this flash should be auto reboot and F reset time. Then you can go back to log here. Now what you want to do is you want to put your Galaxy S8 into download mode. And again, if you don't know how to do that, you can go over to the video and you can view our video guide on how to put the Galaxy S8 into download mode, which is going to be, you're going to hold the Bixby button, volume down, and then apply the power button. You're going to see a warning screen, and then you'll press volume up to continue. You want to use a factory cable, and when you do, when you plug in, you're going to get a COM port. Just like we have here, we have in that COM port. Now, when I press start here, it's going to take a while for the files to get analyzed. So we'll go ahead and press start here real quick. And you're going to notice it says file analysis here. It's going to take a bit to analyze the files. Once it does, then it will start the flash. It could take up to a few minutes. These are MD5 files, so it's going to check the validity of the files and make sure that they're ready. So we're going to wait for a minute, and then we're going to come back and we're going to view the flash. Okay, so it's continuing the file analysis here, and as you can tell with this video, it's taking a while, and it's going to take a while, so you just have to be patient. Once it does analyze each of the files, it's going to start the flash here, and it's going to flash a lot of files really quickly up front. Now, if for any reason you get a fail, so after it analyzes the files, if any reason it gets a fail, you can go ahead and pull the cord from the device, and you can power cycle it off. The way you power cycle it off is you hold all the buttons together, and then you'll go ahead and boot into stock recovery, power it off, and then you're going to need to choose another firmware file. Now, what it's doing right now is it's going to push all the files to the device, and once it's done, we're going to head over to the device. We're going to show you a couple of things, and then we'll finish up this video guide.
Okay, so here we are coming to the end of the flash. Again, remember with the user data, that's a new file. So it's going to wipe the old user data off. If you don't want to do that, you can go ahead and leave that file out. Now, what we're particularly looking for here is, and I'm going to talk about a situation. There have been situations where you flash the S8, and as soon as this kicks over, it goes directly into stock recovery. If that happens, all you need to do is basically do a wipe data factory reset, and then you're going to go ahead and press power to confirm, and then the device will boot up. So what you want to look for here is you want to look for the pass after it's done, and then the device is going to kick over and it should boot right up. It's going to take a few minutes. You have to remember it's going to be loading on a lot of files here. I'm going to show you here in just a second what we're looking at. So once it gets the pass here, it's going to boot into a different screen, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like, and it's coming up here in just a second. And the cache is the final file, which is actually contained in the user data file now. And there we go. We got a reset. And then what's going to happen here is the device is going to boot into a different screen. We're going to see it here, and it's going to say installing system update. This is normal. Now, if for any reason this boots into stock recovery after this, do a wipe data factory reset, and you will be okay. You're going to get to about 30% here, and then it's just going to kick over. It says erasing. And at this point, it's either going to boot fully up or it's going to boot into stock recovery. If it does boot into stock recovery, all you have to do is do that wipe data factory reset. There's no need to panic at that point. Okay, so this is going to kick over here. Now, what you should see is you should see this pulsing light up here. And that means that the device is going to kick over. Give it about 2 to 3 minutes for it to fully boot up, and then you're all set. And that's it for this Galaxy S8 flashing guide. If you have any questions, leave your comments below. You can also send us an email, phonelabtech@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.